Today we're diving into a really unique worldview, one that comes from the YouTube channel Gloger from Miami. Now, what's so interesting about it is that it's built entirely from things its viewers send in. Letters, news clippings, personal stories. And when you piece it all together, you get this theory that our world is basically operating from a hidden universal script. And this quote right here, this is the absolute core of the whole idea. The source material argues that there is a single playbook, a hidden instruction manual that every world leader is following. So the thinking goes, whatever you see happening in one country is just a preview of what's coming everywhere else, because in this view, they're all reading from the very same page. Okay, so how does this instruction manual actually play out? Well, the first place the channel looks is the world of politics. It claims that leaders who seem like total opposites are, in reality, using the exact same tactics. And here's where it gets really specific. This slide lays out a direct comparison the source makes between Putin and Trump. It alleges they use identical methods. You can see it right there, creating a paid force to control people, a term the video uses, ludolove, which translates to man-catchers. And then there's the strategy of systematically getting rid of anyone who isn't loyal. The alleged goal for both? Establishing a dictatorship. So you might be wondering, how do they get people to do this? Well, according to the video, it's pretty simple. It all comes down to money. A huge part of this alleged playbook is offering some really powerful financial incentives to these enforcers. And the source material gets into the actual numbers they claim are involved. The video claims that the moment you sign the contract, you get an immediate $50,000 bonus. On top of that, some of your existing debts apparently just disappear. But it doesn't stop there. The source claims that for every single person these man-catchers capture, they get another payout, somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500. It's basically a system set up to make catching people a very, very profitable business. All right, so from the world of politics, the channel's narrative pivots to the physical world around us. It starts putting together observations from viewers that it describes as hidden environmental attacks, things that are supposedly happening right out in the open. A big piece of this puzzle is the theory about chemtrails, and it's backed up by a whole collection of viewers' stories. They point to all sorts of things, from supposed Ukrainian security drones flying around the clock creating these trails, to these bizarre spiral patterns just showing up in the sky with no planes in sight. They even bring up a story about a woman who supposedly told the US Congress that no one would give her a straight answer about any of it. And it's not just about what's in the sky. The source points to other really strange things, like a ton of dead birds suddenly appearing on the streets, or this weird green powder that supposedly covered entire cities overnight. They frame all of these as connected pieces of a much bigger, hidden puzzle. To really bring these alleged dangers home, the source shares a pretty tragic personal story from a viewer about vaccines. It's about a truck driver who felt pressured to get vaccinated. He does it on the very last day he can, and his bosses immediately tell him the certificate is worthless. According to the story, not long after that, he develops 4 large lumps on his body and has to start chemotherapy. So where does all this lead? Well, according to the source material, after the political and the physical realms, the next frontier is the digital one. The video calls it a digital concentration camp. Okay, so a key concept here is something called Cheburnet. It's kind of an ironic nickname for Russia's own walled-off sovereign internet. The source presents this not as some unique Russian project, but as the pilot program for a global system of information control, where your access to the outside world is just cut off and the only thing that gets through is official propaganda. So you gotta ask, right? Where does the tech for a global system like this even come from? Well, the source points its finger directly at major tech projects. It claims that satellites, like the ones launched by people like Elon Musk, aren't actually for connecting the world. No, it says they are, in fact, a crucial piece of this digital concentration camp. And this is where it all comes together. The end goal, from this point of view, isn't just control. It's the complete shutdown of the public internet as we know it. In its place, a new closed satellite system would fire up, and it would be used for one thing and one thing only: managing digital money and digital IDs. A system of total tracking. And all of this leads to what might be the most profound part of this worldview, what it's doing to us, to society. The video argues that all these alleged deceptions are creating this massive, unbridgeable gap between people, all based on what they think reality is. So the video basically says society is splitting in two. You've got the awakened on one side, the people who believe they see the truth of what's happening. And then on the other side, you have the first graders, the ones who trust what the source calls, mainstream science, TV, and presidents. When they see weird stuff in the sky and they're told it's just cirrus clouds, they believe it. According to the source, these two groups are now living in completely separate realities. And this isn't just a simple disagreement. The source claims the gap between these two groups is now so huge that it's pointless to even talk. I mean, this quote on the screen really captures it. The speaker says you just stop trying to explain things because it feels like an adult trying to explain the facts of life to a little kid. You start to see the other group as almost like a different species. And that brings us to the final message, the challenge that the source material leaves its audience with. Are you thinking for yourself? The video's whole conclusion is a direct plea to reject all official information, from the news, the government, even science. In this worldview, the only way forward is to trust your own gut, your own judgment, because, as it claims, nobody in power has your back.